Welcome to Reddit Chronicles, the #1 place to get your Reddit stories. Hope you enjoy them. My younger sister is pregnant, and my mom is trying to get her to keep the child. We are not ready to add an infant to this household. So, I don't know if this is the right place for this. But this is literally driving me nuts, and maybe writing it out will help. But honestly, I'm just hoping someone can help me talk some sense into my mother, who listens to people reading Reddit, and I honestly don't care if she knows it's me sharing this. She's being entitled by thinking she has a say in what my younger sister does. Me F23. Just found out my younger sister F16 is pregnant by her boyfriend, who I don't even know how old he is. I just know I've barely seen him in our house, and for good reason. I am the oldest of 6 kids, with this sister. Let's call her MS middle sister, because she's the eldest out of the second group of kids that came after me, and the other 2, who are all in our 20s at this point. It was late, getting into the wee hours of the morning, and I couldn't sleep. So I decided I might as well mess around on Fortnite to grind and hopefully get a little sleepy. When my mom, F mid-40s I think, comes in and just kinda starts standing behind me. When I ask her what she wants, she just asks me if I can pause the game. Not in a serious we need to talk tone, but more in a this is something you should know kind of way. I expected her to show me some Facebook post or something on Messenger from someone she doesn't care for, as at this point, I'm quite used to being the one she goes to in order to rant about these sorts of things. It's honestly emotionally draining, but I don't know how to tell her I'm not interested in hearing her complain all the time. She pulls out a pregnancy test and shows me. When I get confused and don't know how to react, she proceeds to tell me that it's not the sister who was born 2 years after me, who's 21 and currently engaged, living at home with her fiancé until they can get enough together to move elsewhere. And that it's one of the middle siblings, MS. She tells me that MS had said she didn't want to keep the child, but at this point it was way too late to get an abortion or anything else. But according to my mom, we don't do that in this household. My sister is not ready to be a parent in any way. She's failing homeschool. She lays around and watches TV all day long and has basically made the living room into her bedroom. Never mind that she has a perfectly good room upstairs. Not to mention, she still ends up wetting herself in her sleep on a regular basis. The house is not good, I'm going to be honest. With this many people, dishes pile up, and nobody but my mother and me seem to want to do them. And on top of that, there's just so much clutter all around the house. We don't have space for a baby. We don't have the money for a baby. I'm on food stamps at this moment. So is the engaged sister. So is my mother. If we were to bring a child into this household, I do not see that kid ending up well off or in any way okay. I tried to talk with MS just a little bit ago and explained to her that nobody could make her keep that kid, that she wasn't ready, that this home wasn't ready for a kid. But she just kinda clammed up and told me that our mom had been talking with her and planning for the future, trying to get her to think of names for this kid and everything. I don't know what's going on through her head, but I know full well that our mother is manipulating her, that all our mother wants is another baby around the house and isn't thinking of the long term. She's not a young mother anymore, and MS is in no way ready to be a parent. I know I have to have this talk with my mother, but I'm afraid of what she's going to say or think, as she often comes to me with adult situations and then doesn't seem to actually listen when I have adult opinions about it. What can I do to talk with her about this, to convince my younger sister that she doesn't have to do this unless she's 100% certain she does? I'm at a loss for words, and I can feel myself spiraling the more I think about this. Well, I finally had my first entitled parent experience in the mall parking lot. I had my first encounter with an entitled mother today. Off to the mall for a pair of winter shoes, so I don't slush my dang socks. Lucky me. A spot really close to the entrance is open. As I'm creeping up to the spot, there's a woman with a baby strapped to her chest, and someone I assume is a sister or friend, whatever, walking up the laneway. They looked like they were just going in the mall, but then they stood in the spot I was trying to pull into. Sensational. I waved. They ignored me. I tapped my horn, and they waved me off saying that they're saving that spot for their friend. I pretty much told them that that isn't how a parking lot works, and that I'm not moving. Entitled mom then looks at me and starts going on about how she has a baby, and that she should get to park closer to the mall because of her baby. I roll. I tell her I don't fucking care about her baby. Back and forth with her insisting that she won't move. And for some dumb reason starts going on about I dare you to hit me. Like, dude, I'm not insane. And you were just going on about your baby, since she wouldn't move. I just laid on the horn until this big red truck that had a guy they were with started to come up behind me. Lo and behold, there was an open space literally only 2 spaces down that the red truck pulled into. Meanwhile, the mom and the other woman she was with do walk out of the space, calling me every name in the book. Bitch, cunt, whore. How they can't believe I made a new mother move. Honestly, it felt like a YouTube rage bait video. I'm staying by my car because I genuinely don't trust crazy people not to do crazy things to my car. The guy who was driving their truck just looked down at his phone while the women told me off for endangering their baby as they all walked past to go inside. Honestly, I like to think he was embarrassed. It what makes people think that 1, I care about your kids, and 2, that you can stand in parking spaces to claim dibs. Entitled Mother demands to know how I grew back my eyebrows. So this happened about 12 years ago. I think I just met the EK while walking my dog, so I just remembered it. Nothing too spectacular, but here we go. So around 2008, I started over plucking my brows, like basically everyone did. Around 2010, 11 I think I kinda stopped plucking them. I just removed the hair really out of place and was lucky that it actually grew back nice and mostly right around my existing eyebrows. So within a few weeks or months my eyebrows went from way too thin to actually nice looking. Normal shaped eyebrows. One day EK noticed and asked me how I did it, expecting some miracle lotion or whatever. I guess I just told her how it was and she didn't believe me. I brushed it off and minded my own business. When M came to pick her up, EK must have said something, because M came up to me asking all nice about my brows. When I told her the same, she got angry as hell. There is no way on earth your eyebrows just grew back like this. I know there must be some secret, and you can't just keep it to yourself. EK needs to grow back her eyebrows, and it isn't working, so you have to tell us. She was screaming. I just didn't feel like all caps. I told her I was sorry, but that this was how it worked for me. And I can't tell her the secret to it because there is none. She got even angrier and louder. EK standing right next to her looking very self-righteous. When she got louder and called me names, people were looking at them. When EK noticed everyone including her crush were now watching, she went red as a tomato and sheepishly tried to get her mother calm and back in the car. From afar you could hear the mother with a last I thought you wanted to know how she did it. What's wrong? Your eyebrows do look like shit, so don't act like you don't need it. I probably developed a chronic pain condition, and my mom doesn't believe me. So, for context, I have been dealing with headaches for the past 3 months as of now, and it's been interfering with my life. The headaches started sometime after the first 2 weeks of school. School started on the 14th of August. And it's November the 7th as I'm typing this out, and for the first few days the headaches occurred. I thought I was just faking, or maybe I was stressed. It wasn't until it still kept happening after about a week that I started to feel something wasn't right. So I asked my mom about it, and she told me it was normal, so I left it at that. Fast forward to about a month, and I was in so much pain to the point that even my dad was starting to notice, and asked my mom to take me to the doctor. She sounded hesitant too at first, but eventually I went in. The doctor was doing her normal evaluation, and then asked me to describe the symptoms of my headaches to her, before I could actually get a whole lot across. My mom talked over me, and told the doctor that I wasn't drinking water, and wasn't eating breakfast in the mornings anymore. She basically minimized my symptoms then and there. Now, it's important to keep in mind here that I have sensory issues due to being autistic. And drinking water, as much as it sounds dumb to say it, causes a negative sensory reaction. Same with protein bars and Gatorade. It's also important to note that because of the pain from my headaches, I had to stop eating in the mornings because my eyes and head are in so much pain. I ended up leaving the doctor's office with a simple diagnosis of headaches, and during that time, I felt completely invalidated, mainly because my mom minimized how bad the issue actually was. And now the doctor won't believe me. The headaches started to get worse, even while I was taking the doctor's orders. And eventually, I stopped seeing the point in doing it anymore, and eventually stopped. This ended up causing my mom to have another excuse to invalidate me. After about 2 more months of trips to the nurse's office, having to stay home, and the occasional crying from the severe pain and the mental health problems that arose from these headaches, I couldn't handle it anymore, which leads to today. So after I relapsed my self-harm due to my only coping mechanism throughout these entire 3 months, that being my phone being taken, I decided to look up if my headaches could be linked to anything, and as it turns out, there is a rare chronic headache condition that exists called New Daily Persistent Headaches, NDPH, and the description matches exactly to what I was feeling. So I sent a Teams chat to the nurse, and while she can't do a diagnosis without authorization, she believes me, at least I'm pretty sure she does. She asked me to print out a copy of the article I had saw and show it to my mom, so I did, alongside a list of the symptoms I exhibited over the past 3 months for her to compare the list to the article. And I hoped at that point she'd actually take a look and believe me. Well, golly, was I wrong. The second I told her about the condition, she scoffed at me and told me that I didn't have NDPH, even though it's pretty obvious, plus we can't actually be sure until I see a doctor about it. That the doctors aren't going to believe me because I haven't been doing what the doctors told me to do, and that I shouldn't be using WebMD for my research even though I used an article from the Cleveland Clinic. She also kept asking me provocative questions about the last time I drank water, even though I explained numerous times that I stopped because it wasn't working whatsoever, and just leaving me in more pain. And she overall just proved how little she was actually willing to listen to me when it came down to this. My eyes are currently sore from crying as I'm typing this, and I just want to say, I'm pissed as fuck. She pretty much knew that I wasn't doing okay, and that something was clearly wrong. But she cares more about some stupid-ass speech that is never getting done because of my headaches, more than the physical health of her child. By this point, I'm considering suicide over this because it's gotten so bad to the point I can't leave the house. On the weekends, I have basically no friends. I don't have a dream job because every opportunity was shattered by my headaches. And my mental health is slowly, but drastically getting worse. And I'm pretty sure my mom won't care if I did it, judging from the numerous times she's invalidated my depression, headaches, burnout, basically everything bad happening to me. And all because in her eyes I'm lazy. No, Cheryl, just because you have headaches yourself does not mean you get to tell someone how to feel about their headaches, or whether or not they even have a condition that causes headaches, let alone your kids. The tiny morsels you have to take care of until they are 18. If your child suspects they might have a chronic health condition and have provided you with research, listen to them. Period. Wow, those was some crazy stories. Make sure to like and subscribe.